First of all, I want to thank everybody for being here. I know it's the end of midwinter. Like he said, my name is Chad Rogers. I come from a family-owned laboratory in Elkhart, Indiana. We're basically 18 techs, not techs, full service delivery drivers. We've pretty much, I mean, our whole laboratory has changed pretty much in the last 10 years, just like your guys' has. So basically, I'm just going to tell you my story, some of the stuff that we're doing basically to, you know, reinvent the business, keep the business rocking and rolling. Some of you have seen some of this stuff, some of it's new. You know, it's just things that I like to talk about, like I like to ask, you know, how we grow our laboratory and how we've seen the growth. Like last year was the best year we ever had in terms of gross sales. So we're continuously seeing the increase through the digital side, even though stuff's changing and crowns are becoming commodities and all that stuff, you know, we're in this whole revolution. I basically just want to talk to you about, you know, for the hour we get, 45 minutes we get, about what we're doing and how we're positioning ourselves for the future. And we'll go into some stuff like we have Cone Beam, we have CBCT, we have a Galileo's Comfort Function Plus, so we help integrate some of that stuff for the dentists. We're moving forward, obviously, with that. We've had it for about a year now. So it's a huge learning curve. It seems, you know, it seems to be working out. We do thoroughly enjoy the whole industry and where it's going. I know a lot of labs are going away. So for us to have the best year we had, you know, ever in what, almost 50 years the lab's been in business is a pretty monumental thing. So basically integration for the future. If you guys have any questions, ask as we go through it. I don't care, you're not going to interrupt me. I mean, it doesn't matter. This is for you guys. So basically it's a complete digital workflow from, you know, I'm going to talk about some of the same day stuff because everything is going same day. And I really have some strong convictions. You know, some of you know we started another business with the whole smile design side. I'm not really going to go huge into that today, but I want to talk about, you know, the whole digital workflow and how you can assist the dentist. Because obviously, with they say 1 to 2% of dentists in the country have CBCT. So for us as a laboratory to move forward and do that, not just offer the guides, not just offer, you know, the support on that side, we actually move forward and take the scans, we integrate the surface data with the doctors, and the patient. So it seems to be, it's an effortless workflow. I mean, Jay and Frankie, they do this stuff all the time and it's awesome and it's really, really easy. The video I'm going to show you later is basically going to walk you through step by step the integration. Because when I first got my Cone Beam, I was thinking, oh God, you know, I'm sure this is like, you know, some hard stuff trying to figure out, trying to get it to talk and communicate. It's easy. And what we charge for that as a laboratory without really producing anything is awesome. So the ROI is pretty quick on the Cone Beam, even though they're, you know, $165,000, $180,000. So that's our lab. Like I said, I'm in Elkhart, Indiana. I'm, 2 hours from here? Took us 2.5 hours to get here. Like I said, we started off, we had 9 people in Crown and Bridge, just in Crown and Bridge alone, about 5-6 years ago when we started really getting involved in the digital dentistry thing and just kind of moving forward. And this last year, we've pretty much leaned it down. We have 4 people in Crown and Bridge producing the same amount of work as we had with the 9. So like labor rate in my Crown and Bridge, and I'll go over some of those quick numbers, is like 17-18% across the board. So we're producing tons of crowns with hardly any labor. And we have 2 MCXLs, an MCX5. We pretty much use the Sirona system for everything. I mean, I'm kind of like a Sirona commercial at my laboratory because we have the Cone Beam, we have the, you know, the multiple DIs. So yeah, we had 9 technicians in Crown and Bridge, and basically we've leaned it down. That's our team. I mean, some people have come and gone, but basically, I mean, we did a ribbon cutting. That was like years ago, and we were really involved with the business after hours and things like that in the Chamber of Commerce. So we integrate ourselves. I don't want to be that creepy lab guy I always talk about, sitting behind the bench grinding. You know, most of us are type B personalities. So when you get out there and you start being involved in stuff, and I really try to get myself, like, you know, integrated into like our local community, like I said, business after hours, because it gives you the visibility that I wanted, because I didn't want to just be like, you know, you go to the dentist, you get the crown, that's it. Like, I want to inform the patient, go to the patient, talk about, you know, different things that are right for you, like Pfizer and Merck and these companies that come out there and inform us to ask the dentist if that is indeed right for you. So we're working on some of that stuff. That's our doctor on staff. So we got involved with him basically with the DI. Like, he didn't want to buy DI, but he wanted to do same-day dentistry. So the last month he was in business, he did like $28,000. Like, he cleared $28,000 with us after he paid all his lab bills and everything in Crown and Bridge. He prepped like 56, I mean, he was a monster, and it was good dentistry. And when we came on board, basically he's like our doctor on staff. So if somebody calls in, if a Cone Beam question, I can divert to him because I'm not a doctor. You know, so I have that backup on my side to say, hey, you know, he backs us up in liability and things like that. So these are my little ones. She's actually a tyrant, by the way. But the ginger is strong, right? For sure. Absolutely. That was at Christmas time. Okay, so let's get in this. How much time we got here? All right, so this is my favorite slides. I use it all the time. I felt like this. We all felt like that, looking out, trying to figure out what's going on. I just walked through the conference hall for the first time. I mean, I did yesterday a little bit, but we kind of like walk through. There is so much stuff down there. There is so much CAD CAM machines, and everybody's trying to get a piece of the puzzle. And I was trying to figure it out too. As we bought, back in the day, we bought Straumann, Nobel. So we're buying all these things that are trying to get us, you know, the competitive advantage in terms of trying to be more productive and make more money in profits and losses. And the thing I noticed is that dentists are asking the same questions, like the dentists I talk to in terms of DI, because it's all going digital. Like, you know, 10 years ago, nobody had a digital pan in their office. They were taking x-rays, they were doing that. And what's happening now is, I think almost all the doctor's office, or like 80% of them, actually have that in their office now. So the digital stuff, everything's moving forward, so we have to figure out how to adapt and how to help the clinician move forward with what they're doing. So I said, like, how are you adapting? Are you looking at different numbers? Are you guys up? Are you down? And that's the stuff that I look at. If a doctor calls and asks a question, like, hey, can you mill this, you know, can you take a look at this DICOM file, or can you merge in this STL with that DICOM file? You know, you got to be able to answer these questions because the doctors have nobody else to lean on, from what I'm seeing. Like, we're seeing our success from this because we're helping them. We're becoming actually a part of that restorative team that has never been that way before. You know, doctor sends it to the lab, gives it to the creepy guy grinding on the crown, gets the crown back, puts it in, maybe grinds out a little bit, and that's it. You know, noble alloy, cool. You know, so I think our role is evolving so at such a fast pace. That's why you're seeing the attrition in the lab industry, because they're going to call somebody who does know the answer, and they transition. I picked up a huge account. It's like a 6-doctor practice where my only competitor left, and they bought Omnicam. My competitor doesn't have Sirona. Can't take your file. Like, really? You're not going to spend the money to get into the system to mill the 6-doctor practice? We got that whole office. They send me file after file after file because I can answer a couple of questions for them, and it made sense. And I mean, I'm a type A personality, so I get along with most people. So that's the stuff that I talk about, is how are you adapting? Are you asking the right questions? You know, it's like, can I input this? Can I import that? With the Sirona Software 15, everything can come in. Like, I'm taking E4D files. We don't do a lot of KDent, but you have to be able to accept all that stuff. So up until recently, when Software 15 was released, I had to keep spending money on 3Shape. So I could accept Trios files, and I could do this stuff. Not the actual camera or the scanner, but we had the software, and we bought it and had it for years because we had to be able to support everybody. So in terms of digital workflow, Sirona has. I've lectured about it for years. They have everybody beat. I mean, there's no other system that has a truly integrated workflow. Like, if you have a Trios, 3Shape doesn't make cone beam, so this STL file has to merge in with that cone beam, that raw DICOM file. So if you start merging all this stuff around, it's like a software hardware company. I talk about it all the time. If something doesn't fit, where do you start going? You know, do you talk to 3Shape? Do you talk to the cone beam? Like, hey, you know, we hit the nerve on this surgical guide. Well, everything looks good. You know, it just depends on what you're doing. So in my mind, with Sirona, you have the truly integrated system that I can call one person and say, hey, I got this question, and they can figure it out for me. All right. So this is basically my life cycle since I entered the digital age. We bought Procera. We had like a Mod 40 back in, what, 99 or something like that, getting little alumina copings and stacking on them. And we moved forward with in-lab in 2008, 2009. I think we got it right around, I'm trying to think. No, we got it in 2006. In 2008, I was talking earlier to somebody, we basically almost closed up shop. Like, we owed like 22 grand in back payroll taxes. Like, we were assigned an IRS payroll agent. Like, we were done. Like, it was done. Like, we were letting people go, laying people off. I mean, we were just seeing the economy. I live in Elkhart. Elkhart had like a 22% unemployment rate. Nobody was getting crowns. They weren't even buying food, you know what I mean? So in 2008, 2009, that was pretty much, we thought about closing the lab then. Like, we pretty much, I was like looking for another job, kind of. And we kind of held on. A couple doctors kept us going, and we kind of got through that. Like I said, this last year was the best year we ever had in business. We've done probably 40,000 EMAX cases with my freaking in-lab. We've had it for, I mean, I'm talking like from the MO stack, I'm talking the old school stuff. We've done so many units with that. And then you think like the monolithic revolution begins, and we're there. I mean, in terms of Bruxer and zirconia, I got some slides with the new Sirona, the chair side stuff. It's crazy to me to see how this stuff is actually moving. So we have monolithic, you have Emax, you have full contour, you have Celtra, you have all these materials coming to market. And then we have the MCX5, we got into that. So basically when the MCX5 came out, we bought that. My outsourced bill for Bruxer was like $7,000 a month. My last month was like $7,000. So I'm like, okay, we got to make a decision of what we're going to do to move forward. And the MCX5 was by far the best purchase from any Serona equipment that we've had so far. And I mean, maybe it's a little sales pitch, but I'm saying from a lab guy to lab guys and ladies, it was the best thing ever. Like, it is a workhorse. It runs all day. They're awesome. And you have it. You know it's right. It's true. Like, it doesn't have problems. So with that, we got into PMMA. We got into guides. And the guides, the guides are huge. Like Jay was saying, everybody wants guides. Doctors want guides. These I mean, I take more scans and make more guides for oral surgeons than I do for actual GPs. I bought the cone beam for the GPs, not for the oral surgeons. But I have every oral surgeon in my area sending me patients. I get like probably 5 to 7 patients a week from the cone beam, from an oral surgeon. And he doesn't know I'm trying to cut his legs out from underneath him, right? He doesn't get it. They use it because it's technology and it works good. And plus, we can support them. They have a question, we download the viewer, we go in there, we show them how to read pathology, how to look through stuff. Because we went to training. It's a couple-day course. That's invaluable to your clinicians and to your oral surgeons. I'm telling you. Like, you will create and cultivate relationships just by having that basic knowledge, not even being a dentist. To be able to walk in there and show them, this is how you bisect this and do this and that. So like I said, labor rate, costs are down, profitability's up. Like, we average with the four technicians in Crown and Bridge, we average around $120,000 a month in fixed. That's pretty good numbers. Those are incredible numbers. Like I said, we might reach 3 million this year as a lab, which is incredible. But I think with that, we're at 11 technicians. I think 18 total people. We have 4 delivery drivers. So our numbers are incredible. So if we go back to the life cycle laboratory, 2008, we were done. And now it's like, okay, we're looking at 8 years later, 7 years later, we're profitable as hell. And I always say, business is built on relationships. Dude, leverage those relationships. Somebody said, well, how do I find out who has cone beam? Call Patterson. They'll tell you who has Galileo's. Go to a Galileo's course. I mean, I really do. I said it at a summit or something. Maybe it was an experience a year or two ago. And Norbert's like, whoa, scaring people. I'm like, you need to understand the cone beam side. I think it was a summit. Because they're like new people in there. Like, dude, don't talk to them about that right now. They're trying to figure out how to use the tools. You know what I mean? But it makes sense because I think we do need to realize that our role as dental lab technicians is totally changing, totally outside the box. And I really do think that our growth through that is because I go there and talk to the dentist like that. I'm like, hey, go ask your competitor what a DICOM file is. Just go ask them. Not even how to integrate, just ask them what it is. And I think there's value in that on both sides, that you can help the clinician and the end user, which is the patient. And I say same day restorations, which I see Cushing's in the room. So basically, I mean, with Smile Design, what we did is we are expediting the same day monolithic crown. We layer it if we have to, but we absorb all the capital costs. We come in, we scan it, upload it, and the crown's back in an hour or two. We're not going to talk about that real in depth today because I want to get into the cone beam stuff. And it's already been 15 minutes, which is crazy. So CBCT. Okay, this is what I think is awesome. I brought these pictures up. I just put these in this morning because I think it's not epic, but to see what's going on across the river at McCormick Place. When you see Serona launch the chair-side single unit zirconia crown, in-lab study group and the different CEREC doctor stuff's been going crazy this weekend since they launched this. And basically, they're saying, all the CEREC specialists, everybody's going to all your accounts saying, hey, you're rocking Bruxer, because you guys are rocking Bruxer. If you're not rocking Bruxer, your lab is probably not doing real well. Because I refused to do Bruxer for years. I refused it. I hated it. I'm a ceramics guy. I like to layer shit. I don't want Bruxer. I do more Bruxer than anything. I brought the MCX5, brought it in. I held back for years, for 2 years. And I'm second generation. My dad's like, do you want to start off in Bruxer? He's like, dude, we're losing our ass over here. You know what I mean? But it makes sense. I brought it in, and it's ridiculous. So you think about this, what's coming to market. That's coming out. That looks like the Vita oven, too. Is that the Vita oven? It looks like it. It's the Vita oven. So basically, they're offering, I saw a CEREC specialist from Denver saying to all the dentists, $20 zirconia crown in 20 minutes. That's how they're trying to compete against the lab industry right now, which is cool. That's fine. The doctors are going to do it. And then I saw one of the other advocates post this on the in-lab study group. He's like, hey, can you spot which one's a Zirc? You know? And they're like saying patients are accepting this stuff. But if you think about it, it's true. Like the doctors will put it in your mouth. They're like, hey, like the first couple times I went and did some same day chairside stuff, doctor was like A2. I was like, okay, cool, mill A2. I didn't take the shade. I get back, I look at it, insert, it was like C4. Like the final shade, he's like, nailed it. And I'm like, dude, really? Like that's what we're dealing with? Like, but that's the level of acceptance because the patients don't know. So if you think about that, I mean, I was in awe. I was like, I almost wrecked the car on the way back to the lab. I'm like, he nailed it. Like we nailed it. He was happy. I mean, he was like chest bumping people. I mean, I'm like, dude, this is ridiculous. So if you think about that, that's accepted. I mean, I look in patients, I see patients every day. We custom shade it in their mouth. I see every day I see patients, whether it's a aesthetic makeover 6 through 11, if maybe it's matched to single central, I see it. So when you start to see the natural dentition, you see value and chroma and all that stuff, how it goes into materials, it's important. It really is important. And that looks like crap. I wouldn't put that in my mouth, and they're saying patients would accept that, which they would, because they're not informed. It's not their fault, they're just not informed. All right, so we'll go through this quick, because I feel like I'm behind. All right. So how do you look different from your competitors? This is the one slide I show all the time because I want people to think about it. I want to like jam this into your face because you have to look different than somebody else. A crown is a crown is a crown. We all think our crown's the best. I think I make the best Emax crown in the room, right? I bet you all do. We do. We think like that. It's a little piece of art, grindy, you know. It's just the way it is. So how do you look different? When we compare like my lab professional to competitor, XYZ. Well, yeah, he can do the Emax. Then you start thinking about other things that you can offer in terms of, like I said, CBCT. Do you offer them CE courses? It's all these other things that encompasses what you're trying to grow your business with. And I think the old day of just sitting at the bench, grindy, snorting porcelain dust is gone. Especially with the monolithic stuff. I mean, it's ridiculous where, I mean, I know Jay's lab, for one, when he and I became friends, his lab has totally changed. I mean, it is a paradigm shift of like, I was a high noble press lab. So we did, pressed Empress, high noble. That's what it was. And then you start getting to these other things, you're like, whoa, Noble starts going out, gold starts going crazy, then you get to like a semi, it's just, you see this, what's happening. Even when Noble went from Noble to zirconia, we're not getting that 30% markup or whatever it is in alloy anymore. So now all these things are coming to market. Then we got a zirconia crown that was like $200, right? We were layering it, some labor in that, but it was like, we got like $200 a crown for that. And now you're like, yeah, let's do Emax. Well, that was smart. Right? We get no alloy markup, and now it runs the cost into the ground. So we're like, $150, $130 for an Emax. We kind of killed ourselves a little bit with the monolithic revolution because we think, oh no, this is good. But now you're not getting that extra cost you're getting, or how about the big bag of money at the end of the year when you turn the scrap in? I mean, you think about that stuff. Yeah, I'm a lab guy. It's true. So how do you look different? That's the things I want you guys to go back on Monday and just think about these things and what you can do to differentiate your lab from XYZ. Like in the Chicagoland area, labs are thick. I don't know how labs survive in Chicagoland because it's a price war. It's a toilet bowl race to the bottom unless you have a really good reputation. And the bigger cities are like that. Like my area, I don't really have any competitors left. I'm not in that big of an area. So as you develop a marketing plan, you move forward with what you want to do, think about these things. What's your most profitable thing in the lab? Mine right now, it used to be the same day crown. My most profitable thing in the lab right now would be a cone beam scan, surface data integration, surgical guide. Hands down. I have no consumables in anything except for the surgical guide. That's it. So of course I want to sell the thing that's most profitable to me because I make the most money on it. So that's the first thing I want to start marketing because it makes sense. We charge $550 for a guide, a cone beam scan, and a surgical data integration, everything. Doctor never does anything, nothing. We push the button. We charge $250 to push the button for 19 seconds. It's good money. You wipe it down, cavi side, cavi wipe, that's it. That's your consumable cost in the cone beam scan. You see what I'm saying? Integrate the surface data, it takes like 10 minutes. So that's the stuff that I want to market because I make the most money on it. The next thing would be like a same day crown, monolithic, staining glaze. I love that, David likes that, healthy manipulation. But it's true. How are you maximizing relationships? How do we move forward? How do we develop these and cultivate? Like I said, Patterson has study clubs. There's all these things that we can do at our advantage right now that you guys can offer. And we have to move forward with that to keep your lab growing. This is what we all do. We compete on price. People want to match the Glidewell Bruxer, whatever it is. We all compete on price. That's what it is. That's competing on price. accept what the industry is presenting to us. Because if you think about it, doctors are leaving us for digital impression machines because it fits so well, because it fits the best. There's nothing that fits better than a DI unit with a crown with no model. You can look at it under PA, you can try to pick it up with Explorer. There's nothing that fits better. So when they see that, they're not justifying the crown just on shade, they're looking at everything, they're evaluating everything. So when we compete on price, it's a total race to the bottom. Stop overproducing. Like I say all the time, stop trying to porcelain butt the margin. You can't die trim twice the same at 9 o'clock at night. We all do it, right? You laugh, you chuckle, it's true. So true. You get so frustrated trying to pour, you look back at the die, you're like, I couldn't trim that twice the same. I have a lot of stories about guys like that. So how are you preparing for the future, reinventing your lab? This stuff I just want you guys to think about. It's, I don't want you to go back to your desk, sit at your bench, grindy Monday morning and forget about the big redheaded kid that was talking about this stuff. Because you guys need to think about and focus on this stuff and move forward with your lab. The ones that are doing it, we're successful. I mean, we're not better, we just have the more experience and we decided that we wanted to do this. And I ask that question all the time. When I go into the trainings and do advocacies and stuff like that, I was like, dude, why would a dentist send you a lab? Like right now you're creeping me out. So how are you getting work from anybody? Like what are you doing? You can't live in the laurel of my crown's better. Because we all make the best crown, right? We've said that. So how are we, or what do we bring to the table? I mean, everybody's looking at some kind of digital dentistry system, whether it's a Trios. I had a guy in my area buy a Trios. I'm like, really? Why would you do that? Like we have how many milling machines like 10 minutes from you and you're buying Trios? Like what do you want me to do with that? I don't even want your work. No. But I'm just saying you have to be able to do that. I can bring it in, but I like it to stay on one integration platform. Because what happens if the crown doesn't fit with the Trios? Yeah, I brought it into in-lab cam, 15, milled it out, then what? Or like an E4D file. Who do I blame? He blames me, I blame him. If he had OmniCam, we sure would know it would have fit, because it's in one package. So as they do that, depending on what system you have, because there is no complete integration system, and we talked about that. All right, so we're getting some cone beam stuff now. Where are we at in time? 23? So basically that's what my cone beam, the footprint's small. There's different choices. You have a Galileos, you have a Galileos Function, then you have a Galileos Comfort Function Plus, then you have the Galileos Comfort Function Plus with face scan. We didn't buy face scan. That was an extra $25,000, but it does scan your whole, it's pretty cool. Like it's like the 3D Summits, will like give you jump drives like with your face. It's pretty cool. But we didn't need it for what we were doing, and we can add it on later. So you can piece it together. You guys can get, I mean, if you're looking at it, you can get a compact for like 130 grand. Is that right? Do you know? You don't know? Like 130 grand you can get into it for, which isn't cheap, but at 500 and some bucks a patient, educating the GP, your ROI is not too bad in that. So ours basically goes through function. So I have like I can hook you up into function, run through different movements. I'm a Dawson guy, so I've been through Dawson stuff. I'm really big into function, cuspid rise, group function. I kind of drink the Kool-Aid and that stuff. So we went ahead and bought the function stuff. And obviously you guys know what OmniCam is, it's been out. So the way we integrate everything, we're gonna go through that. This is so cool. So you guys see that on Christmas time? I was doing where was I at? Minneapolis, and the CEREC specialist. He was trying to sell this new doctor a full system. I was like, dude, the color streaming stuff's cool as hell. I was like, do you see I show him the picture of the elf on the shelf? Because we scanned it, that's a scan. That's from a digital, that's the scanner. Like we used the intraoral scanner and scanned the elf to give you the color streaming thing. He was like, that was you? He's like, I saw that. Like, he's in Minneapolis, I'm in Indiana. That's the kind of stuff that we do in terms of marketing, Like I say, marketing, Facebook page, the color streaming stuff. I've had this picture since the day one we had our OmniCam like 2.5 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. I had my mom sit down and I scanned her eye. Yeah, she took one for the team. It is awesome. I just want to see the clarity and what you can do with that. But it's an awesome thing to be able to offer that and to know about it and the integration. That's my buddies. We're trying to scan to scan a pallet. That's when it first came out. So I show this all the time. That was a morning. So we charge $250 for a same-day crown, modelless, and we scan it. So in one morning, that was all the ones that we sent to ourselves, and we're done by like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So there's no other consumable cost except for that one $30 block or $35 block, a little bit of standing glaze time. So the doctors that already have the OmniCams, I'm telling you, get into the same-day stuff. Support them that way. If it's anterior work, all the anterior work has to come to my lab. If they don't want to send a patient to my lab for a custom shade, I won't do it. You do it. Because you're not going to give me an A2, because we all talked about what an A2 nailed it, right? No, you didn't nail it. You can see that, and that's my work that's going into your mouth. So I want to make sure that it's aesthetic and it looks good. If we have to layer it, we'll layer it right there on the spot. Take like a facial putty matrix, cut it back, layer it. It works. So this is one case. I was so nervous with this case. This is the case. I show this every time I lecture. And this shows 7 years ago where we were at in terms of PA, in terms of what fit. Because there's still lashback in terms of what people think fits and what actually does fit. And this was Blue Cam. This wasn't even Omnicam. This was Rich Rosenblatt. I saw him last night at the House of Blues. And we were doing a lecture. It was like to 100 people or something in Maggiano's in Chicago. And this was 7 years ago, so I was young. Like I didn't know what I was talking about. I was just talking. I still don't know what I'm talking about. So we get this case back. He's like, I'm going to send you a digital case. We're going to mill it out. And you're going to stain and glaze it. And you're going to send it back. And I was like, really? No model? He's like, yep. He's like, and then I'm going to take the pictures. I'm going to put it on the screen. And we're going to show all 100 people. And I was like, I'm not coming. Because at this point, I'm thinking, dude, they're open, floating glass and plastic. That's what they used to say about digital technology. Not Sorona, everybody's floating glass and plastic. So I get there, and I was like, so dude, I'm leaving before you show that slide. I didn't do that work. So basically, we got it, and it's awesome. And that was Blue Cam. Now, obviously, he's an experienced user. He knows what he's doing. Could he mess it up? Yeah. But there's nothing really we can mess up. What can we mess up on that? Nothing. So at $250 a unit, it fits. And it makes sense because they're not temporizing, they're not making it provisional, they're doing nothing. So all the Omnicam, all the Blue Cam owners you guys have, you should be doing it every day. You should go to them, have a seminar, have a lecture, do it, because it makes sense. Because there's no other system that can do it like that. There's none. You can do it same day, but you can't do it as quick as we can do it same day. You can't. Because if you could do it better, I'd be lecturing for a different company. I'm just kidding, not really. So where do we go from here? So this is what I did. We're going to touch on, this is the only slide I got. So this is what we started, and you guys can do it too. There's lab guys, since I've been lecturing about this for like the last couple of years, you guys are selling DI units. Because they're doing it. They're selling DI units because of what, not just because of me, but because of what we're lecturing, what we're talking about, because it makes sense. Like one of the other TMs downstairs, he's like, dude, sometimes you rub people the wrong way, but like 2-3 months down the road, like, yeah, maybe he made a point. Maybe. Maybe not. So what we did is I just created a different company outside the lab. You guys could do it too. No capital investment from his clients, nothing. Blue Cam to Omnicam, we absorb it. They don't get the camera. They can't touch the camera. We scan it, upload it, it's back. Matt knows about this, don't you, Matt? Something like that. 90-minute monolithic restoration. That's what they do. Most of the time, we don't do it 90 minutes. Most of the time. Doctors are starting to schedule like relines, repairs. So they'll schedule, 3 or 4 cases in the morning, line them up, deliver them all at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Boom. You've had no super eruption. We've had no microabrasion in the provisional. We've had none of that stuff. Because the biggest thing I've figured out with the whole same-day thing is when you got these doctors that are calling you and telling you occlusion's high, occlusion's high. And you're having a pin pop, the occlusion's way out, you can see through the articulator. It's not every single time they made a bad provisional. It's that we have microabrasion in the provisional. So I was evaluating 3 different provisional companies, and we just finished it up. I think it's going to go into LMT, I think. But anyways, we finished up this 3-month study on provisionals and microabrasion and how super eruption. And basically, the doctor can make a perfect temporary. So every time he calls you and says, hey man, your occlusion sucks, it's not our fault, and sometimes it's not his fault. It's the microabrasion we're seeing in the provisionalization. So it's the materials flaw that we're seeing. So when you start doing same-day stuff, you guys become really, really consistent because you've had no super eruption, we've had no micro movement, we've seen none of that. So as you start limiting your turnaround time, like even with digital technology, I would say even if they're still going to put a provisional on it, limit your turnaround time. Because it's going to make you more consistent, because you're not going to see that super eruption when stuff starts moving over that 7 days or 10 days. Like I said, 90-minute Emax, if it's anterior, they give me a base shade, 1 shade lighter, and the patient comes to the lab. And the patient takes the crown back to the doctor. So now I don't have to pick it up or drop it off at all. They were lecturing in here, yeah. So if they don't want to do the anterior work, I won't do the case. We won't schedule it. Patient has to come to the lab. No. Okay. Well, then take a conventional impression. And we do the implant kits. So basically, that's why I said it was $550. You send the guy to Germany, it's not cost effective to do single unit. All in 4, stuff like that, game on. But if you're going to get into the whole of surgical guides or cone beam or anything, and you're going to move it and send it to Germany, we did the first 9 months because they check you. Because we had no idea what we were doing. Like, yeah, they implanted the nerve. Okay, we'll move it a little bit. You know, because they check, it's checks and balances situation. So you're paying for that. But they're dialed in. It's an awesome outsourcing center for guides. Like if I was a dentist, I would use it because they cross the T's and dot the I's, and it's amazing. So we send the kit back. And then we also do dentist and laboratory marketing. So we check in on Facebook, we create them Facebook pages, it's important. They need that. Like the ADA said, like 77% of all patients will search their dentist on Facebook. See what the reviews they got. Just search them out. Why not? I do. All right, where are we at? 30 minutes. That's like our slogan. Keep calm and scan on, right? All right. So I want to show this. The clarity is not very good, but you're going to see how, this is an older one, but you're going to see how fast it really scans. I don't know how many people have seen cone beam or have seen the Galileos or anything about it because we're on this side. Really? Yeah, all right, I'll show that later. Move on. All right, so relationships, we talk about that. So I talked about getting to know Patterson, you know, wiggle into Patterson. Patterson's my best friend. I co-travel with my CEREC specialist. People are like, dude, that's so counterproductive. Why are you going to co-travel with a guy who's going to sell your biggest account chairside milling? Because he's not. Like, they don't. My CEREC specialist just left or got fired or attrition or whatever because they're not selling them. I mean, I don't know what they're saying over there, but in my area, I'm not seeing any being sold. None. Are you in your area? Yeah? A lot? You have a bigger area too. Whatever. Whatever, Jay. And that's what I do. So what we do is, and if he does sell one, we still support it. You still go in there, you support it. You teach him, you train him. You move forward with everything. You create study clubs. I do stain and glaze courses. I flew from, it was an Ivoclar gig, but I flew from O'Hare, Midway to Minneapolis to do a stain and glaze course for a dentist. Like, really? I want to do that on a local level. Like, educate them, get them dialed in. You know, implant solutions, have implant seminars. We provide our clientele at least 10 hours of CE every year. That's close to home. They don't have to, you know, pack up their whole staff, spend money in a hotel. At least 10 hours. I know this April, my local dental society is bringing in Gordon Christensen. That's awesome, right? I mean, that's huge. There's going to probably be 200 or 300 dentists there. So we're going to offer all that stuff. The implant solutions, bring the implant manufacturers in. I think Encode is awesome. I mean, the Encode system, we have a local oral surgeon that is killing it. And we do all his integration scans. So not only am I getting his cone beam scans with his integration and selling him a guide, I get the crown back from the GP. So now we're kind of double dipping in terms of cone beam and restorative work. So I'm everywhere. I'm like, hey, you scan, hey, here's your crown, here's your butt mitt, you know. And he'll even have some for his competitive advantage. He'll bring us in and scan the Encode healing cap so that the GP never has to take a fixture level impression, ever. Ever. The GP refers you out, you get an implant, next time you see the patient, you put the crown in. That's crazy. That's the workflow. And he just bought a Trios. I mean, it's astounding to me. And these are one of our franchises up in Grand Rapids, not a franchise, a partnership. We go to jail for calling it a franchise. So it's a partnership. They made these t-shirts. Every patient gets a t-shirt. I've shown them before. How cool is that? Not very cool, but it's cool. Team Smile Design, you get a t-shirt. You know, like I said, they're not going to wear it to the wedding, but they're going to wear that shit to Lowe's on Saturday, right? Go to Home Depot, hey, where'd you get that shirt? Well, I got it with this crown, right? The crown doesn't match, no. But that's true though, and it was cool. We hand them out. We want to do something else. Like that was last year's marketing thing. Which it's cool though. I mean, the patient's like, whoa, I get it. You know, it's just something different. It costs us what, $7 to make a shirt? Oh, raise your crown free, $7. You know what I mean? Absorb the cost. Want free shipping? Give them free shipping and raise the cost. We offer complete digital support for all DI platforms. Everybody, you can send it to us. Yep, sure. Doctor was like, hey, I got this CareStream, which I'm like, well, really? He's like, can I send it to you? I was like, nope. But I'll take it. I'll put it wherever I need to do. I'll mill it out. I'll give you the work. Is it the best? No. But like my dad says, I'm not the dental police. I'm just going to charge you for what I produce for you. This is a bunch of pictures we've had throughout the years. Look at Jay down there. What we do, we take pictures, we post. I mean, it's been a crazy digital ride for us, but now we're really starting to feel like it's like we're wiggling into like a comfort zone, finally. This is one of the first stuff I did same day. And that's what people want to know. Can you layer it? Can you cut it back? Can you make it look good same day? Yeah, not every case is a candidate for same day. Sometimes you have that intrinsic state, you have to layer it, cut it back, wash it, I get it. Not every case. And at that point we say, hey, we'll give this back to you tomorrow or the day after. Minimum provisional. Because aesthetics is more important, especially in the anterior region to me. Like if I can't get it, I'll call the doctor and say, hey, I can't do it. If he gets mad, get mad. What can I do? Like, okay, it's not going to be my best work, so I can't do it. I'm going to have to change materials or switch it up or layer it or whatever I need to do. But I've shown this forever. That's a BioHorizon, number 7 is a BioHorizon implant. So we make tons of flippers. Everybody knows flippers are interdental papilla killer. They are. If they're not made correctly, you start to see resorption, you can see it. Most flippers are not made correctly that I've seen. So this lady was pregnant. I think she was close. And she had lost a tooth and it was trauma. And she didn't want to wear her, she's like, I'm going to be pushing this baby out and I'm going to kick out this flipper. Yeah, you saw it. So, and I'm going to kick this flipper out. I get it. I mean, I told, if I was I get it. So she's like, what can we do? You know, something fixed. So I started doing them, and it's just a Maryland bridge. It's a provisional Maryland bridge they can do like a temp cement with. And it doesn't, you can ovate the ponic, you can blanch the tissue where it needs to be, and it's not killing the gingiva at all, like at all. And then number 9 was just like a slight, it was a discolored, she had like a brown spot or something on it. But, so we just did like a really light veneer. He just like a facial light prep on it, and I just layered it a little bit. I'm an Ivoclar guy, I'm not a GC guy. So I use all the Ivoclar stuff, all the EMAX stuff. And it works out good. I love the Essence kit, it's like my best friend. Like I can pretty much get anything with the Essence kit, I love it. Like I don't think there's a single central I really can't match. Like I've seen so many patients. I mean, that's just monolithic, that's Celtra. That's when I still used Celtra before it broke everywhere. Everywhere. It breaks in the lab or in the mouth, everywhere. So, can I say that? But yeah, that's monolithic. That's just exterior stain. And it came out fantastic. I mean, the value's off a little bit, but for a same-day crown, it didn't turn out too bad. That's I have these in my phone. So number 9's a monolithic crown, same day, and so is the cuspid. It's 11. I mean, that's just some stain. That's just picking. Is it great? No, it's monolithic. But it still doesn't look too shabby for monolithic, right? Because on that bottom right one, the doctor would have said C3. And you'd see no hypercalcifications, you'd see none of that stuff. But having the patient right there, you can blend it, and you can, I mean, it's amazing how much work I'm picking up just by doing the digital anterior work. So that's one day, that's one powder cutback. That was same day. When I first started alginants, I had him take an alginate impression, because I knew I didn't care about fit or function because I can do it on the system. But sometimes you can't get what you need to get in terms of translucency with monolithic. It's just not there. I mean, it's close. That's just one powder cutback. So I just took an alginate, ground the margins away, made sure it's seated so I had something to look at, contour real quick, and it was done same day. And it turned out pretty nice. That was from my doctor. The doctor you saw in the beginning, the little guy that's on staff, that was when he was still in practice. And Rich is my business partner. I mean, it's crazy. Like when they start to see it, like doctors, that's why they leave us. I had this lab up in Detroit. They're working on a 20-power microscope. 20-power microscope. I hope none of you guys do that, I'm sorry. And he's like, man, my biggest office left me. He's like, dude, there's no way they're getting the fit that I'm giving them. I'm like, yeah, they are. But they're not looking at our 20 power, because 20 power is ridiculous. But the CEREC doctors are leaving us because they're getting fit like they've never seen before. And that's what's happening. Like when I first started in the industry, my dad's like, here's an Explorer boy, that's how they're going to judge you. It's true. Because they want to pick, you can't pick those crowns up. It's just such a better, the digital stuff's crazy. That was our master's class article from last year. I've shown this a couple times. That turned out great. That's a TM for Sirona. So we flew him in from Minneapolis into St. Louis, and we did it and did a whole master's class article in IDT. It came out great. And then the doctor at the end, like totally kind of like torqued one of the centrals. Oh, we still mess with him. Like it's kind of off a little bit. Oh yeah, he gets, yeah. But it came out, that was all same day. He was in the chair at 9 and he was out at 3. And there's a 5 powder build on that. So 5 different powders were used in that because it's more of a high end. He had a lot going on. I think he's a little hot in the size of the edge of number 9, but it looks good in his mouth. All right. So I'm approaching, I need to get some rocking and rolling here. So this is basically from a doctor, he's a beta tester, he's a big over in Germany. And I want to show you, it's going to walk through what we do. So basically we take the scan, you're not going to see the scan because it wouldn't load. So actually you're going to see from the surface data integration, so he scanned the lower arch. And what we do is we design a crown. I don't know how much you guys know about the top back or a top down approach in terms of the way Sirona does the implant side. So basically we design a crown, we take a cone beam scan, we take a surface data scan, which is digital impression, okay? Take those, we design the crown in the CEREC software. So in the CEREC software, you design a crown, there's no margin, it's almost like just missing, right? Design the crown where you want it to be, curve of speed, curve function, buccolingual corridor. Take that file, convert that to an SSI file, move that into cone beam. So we take that, put it on a jump drive into our network, we have the OmniCam, move that over to cone beam, and we plot points and it integrates everything. And this is with the latest software. This is with CEREC 4.4. So that's what we have in our office with our OmniCam. It's probably not going to work. So we did this. And it moves kind of quick. I'll kind of walk you through it. It's only 4 or 5 minutes long. But it's a cool video. I was just searching for some stuff because I didn't want to take the video. It could take me forever to do that. But it kind of falls right into what we're doing. And it's music, but it's really weird music. So we're not going to listen to it. And this is actually in the MCXL. So this won't be MCX5. This will be a CEREC guide, like milled, and what you guys probably have MCXL, which doesn't matter where you put it at. So basically, he's just designing the crown. So that's the surface, that's the scan he's got. He's not really designing that fast. So you convert it. He's going to change it from RST to an SSI file. And it takes a while, too, for it to convert, everything to convert. But then you're done. So basically, with seeing the patient for like 10 minutes, it's like maybe, let's say 15 if you got like a big catfish tongue or something like that. You're trying to get around and scan them. Maybe 15. But you got the cone beam scan done and everything's done. And we charge $325 for that. So that's what? I mean, think about it. $1,400 an hour. So he's integrated it all. So actually the crown you see, and he's moving quick, but the crown, the orange crown that you see is from the CEREC. So we've designed that crown. It's in cone beam now because all the matching plots it's all there. So you can see and you can dissect everything. So basically what he's doing is we go for the end result, especially like anterior teeth. I want to have enough room facially to get something in there. So basically they design it, we design it, but traditionally the doctor designs it, and perfect crown, and then he goes to different placements. So he looks at cortical bone, how far super G looks. We map the nerve. So in my office or my laboratory, we map the nerve. And one of our oral surgeons told us stop doing that. He's like, dude, I'm an oral surgeon. I know where the nerve's at. He's like, you're going to get yourself in some liability issues if we hit the nerve because they're going to blame it on you. So we stop mapping the nerve. And you can see the nerve is the purple thing. And then you just pick which implant you want. If it's Zimmer, if it's whatever, Nobel, you pick the platform. Those are the keys that go with it. So the doctors that want to work with us spend like $300 on the keys. And then it works with their system. So he's just picking placement, and it's top-down approach. So we're going from function down. So you're never going to get that weird, you can see where the bone's at. And really, truly integration, Sirona's #1 with that. And that's why we stay within the Sirona system, is because the integration is crazy. And it's seamless. I mean, it is seriously like one of the easiest things you can do. Like I was overwhelmed when we got cone beam. I'm like, I'm never going to know how to do this stuff. And I mean, once you go through the Neil Patel course and take some pathology, it's easy, and it's a money-making thing. And I think there's more lab. I talked to a lab that's in this area. They're a bigger lab, and they're moving forward with cone beam. So that's the yellow is digital impression. Design everything you want, put the implant in, export it, pick CEREC guide, and that's it. Like it seriously is like a few minute thing to make, $500 on. Because once you've done all that, you import it into software 15. Well, this is CEREC, but we would pull it into, we design it on our CEREC, and I export it into my lab side, and this is the designing a guide. I mean, the guide is easy. Should be playing the music, it's pretty cool. You can move the slot, you can adjust everything, and it's real time. It takes you 5 minutes to design the guide. And it populates everything, you throw it in your milling machine. This is obviously going into an MCXL because you can see the block size. Has the cut-through windows. I don't know what you guys know about guides, but the cut-through windows, you can see that it's actually seated in the mouth. So the clinician, before he starts drilling into the head, he can make sure everything's where it needs to be. And for me, I mean, I would never offer a guide that little. I'm a cuspid guy, so I always want the other cuspid, always. I don't care what we're doing, just give me the other cuspid. So I bring my guides most of the time, depending where they're at, just to give you the balance out, just to make sure everything's seated where it needs to be. But most oral surgeons don't punch holes. A lot of GPs punch holes. So I mean, oral surgeons, a lot of times they won't do it. So it was astounding to me that I actually got the oral surgeons to send me all that work. All right. I can't see anything. So that's just the guy I made the other day. I just took a quick screenshot. I like the full arch guides. For me, I don't know. Some people just want to give you a little bit. I like the security. You know, I've messed with different thicknesses and things like that. I mean, I know Jay's. Are you guys milling guides? Are you printing your guides? I'm going to send you a guide to print me. But I mean, it's a simple workflow. Like everything about it, it's crazy to me that we're all not on board with this yet. So when I talk about the laboratory industry, it's funny because I was talking to Barry, who used to work for Strona, works for Stratasys now, and we said it all the time that the next generation of dental labs, like everybody says, are you full service? Are you fixed? Crown and Bridge? What are you? You know, and I do truly believe that at the end of the day, the lab solution is not going to be a Crown and Bridge. It's going to be a complete solution. Like I don't think we're going to have these little like 1-2 man fixed labs. I think it'll be there and it will move forward for a while because obviously with anything it takes time for attrition to kick in. But you're seeing with the outsourcing and how the cost and the like economies of scale and the opportunity cost of stuff that's coming in with the digital technology, it's changing so rapidly that, I mean, even I'm in it and abreast of it, and sometimes I'm like, oh, what's that? Like, because stuff's evolving so quickly. And when I look at that with our new partial denture software, I mean, that's some pretty cool stuff. I mean, I don't know how you guys are using it or utilizing it, but it's pretty slick how it works, and it fits, and it looks good. I mean, and it's dependable. When I look at that, you know, look at that's a milled, basically a dentulous ridge out of acrylic, pumiced. So the stuff's coming to be able to transition, because I see we have a booming, awesome denture side, like denture business. And I see some backlash from older technicians because the denture stuff's starting to come, and they don't want that. Just like the older technicians when I first entered in, it's such a different paradigm shift of production that it's hard to keep up with it. So when you look at that, I saw that the other day, I don't know where that's from, but to be able to mill a puck with the teeth in it, it's not quite there yet. Like we beta test with Kalzer on some denture stuff, some palate stuff we've done, and they're printing. And we did, my uncle, he's been a dentulist for 15 years, 20 years. And he's had, you know, sore spots, this and that. I actually did Omnicam scans on him, which was terrible, but we got it to work. And they printed the actual denture base. It was a white printed on the Stratasys machine, it was printed. There was no post-ops. And that was off a DI unit. And it was hard to get. The way we took the digital impression was kind of funny though. We had to create landmarks in his mouth for it to stitch. But it worked. And he had no post-op adjustments. They came in one time, they balanced occlusion out. It was like zip, zip, zip. Next thing you got, finished dentures. And I'm telling you, with the cone beam, where everything's at, that's where it's going to be. I mean, it's going to be a totally integrated digital package. And like with Serona, we are on board with that because we can offer it to anybody. Like what I'm functioning right now, I said we have the CBCT Comfort Function Plus. So I'm working on a tray right now that actually I want to patent it, but basically it hooks into the comfort function portion of the cone beam. So it's a tray, but it has everything that it needs for the function and for the actual cone beam scan. So patient day one, you're a dentulous patient, you have upper and lower dentulous ridges. Doctor uses these trays, put the tray in, take the impression, send the patient to the cone beam. Like if it's a steric doctor, they're going to put the patient in their cone beam, and they're going to run through function, and they're going to run through the cone beam scan. So through function, you can actually see where the condylar guidance and everything is, because most people are not at 20 degrees. You get 22 degrees, 23 degrees, depending on what there is, face bow transfer, that kind of stuff. So actually, when you put the tray in, the tray is going to work as a landmark to make everything. So instead of having 3 appointment dentures, we can actually take a dentulous impressions day 1. Next time the doctor sees the patient, the dentures are done. I don't care if you want to print them, if you want to mill them, if you want to do lost wax technique, I don't care. I just want my tray to work to get to the end result of having perfect function, because it's hard to take in a dentulous bite. It's like one of the hardest things to do. You never know where rum's at, where you're at in terms of, that's why dentures have relines and everything bite set, and people are starting having jaw pain because nothing's right. It's hard to recreate that. So if we can run them through function with this special tray, we can basically turn dentures into crowns same day, and not have to, or next day, because obviously you want to heat cure it, unless you're going to print it or whatever's coming down the pipeline. That was a frame I did years ago. That was the X5 frame. Now, Sean was talking about that earlier, about the X5. But in terms of what you can do off it, I didn't do anything. The frame fit good. I did nothing. I scanned the impression, sent it off, and got back a printed model with I think it's nobelium frame, titanium. It was done. I did nothing. Set teeth on it. So Valplast, I tried some Valplast for my office manager. I scanned it with an Omnicam, sent it to him, got it back. It was like a spider flipper. Fit great. No problem. About done? You said we're about done? That's so true. And the Matt Roberts slide that I'll never forget is that one. I use it every day. And we are so teetering that, like at the end of being proactive and reactive, it's true. Because like there was what? 14,000, 12,000 labs. There's like what, 7,000 labs left, something like that. So we're going away quick. So we got to find a way, like through the whole recreation process, because I see it. I see a lot of second generation labs. They don't keep the trend going like I do with the parent that owned the lab. So for us, we're so outside the box and trying to figure out, how to stay competitive. We spent a lot of money to stay competitive, but like I said, having the best month we ever did since 1968 last year. I attribute that success to Sirona and where we've been. I really do. Like we wouldn't be where we're at. That's why I have such strong convictions in what I do and how much you can see how much I love to do what I do, just because my only competitor is gone. Like they're gone. And they had a Sirona system. And they just didn't keep up with it. They didn't educate. We came in there and we just pretty much just took them out. And it's a bad thing to say, but it's great for our business. So you have questions? I was going to guide walk through, but we don't have time for that. And a couple other guys did it. So that's it. Are you good? Wake up. Let's go. You're good? All right.